Good morning, good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to today's edition of Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita. Let me share my screen and we will get underway with our opening prayers and then we'll get going as well. Just give me a sec. All right, so let's start with our opening prayers. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha. Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagat Guru. Krishnam Vande Jagat Guru. Okay, so Radhe Radhe, good morning, good evening, everyone. Let's get started with today's session with our Soul Soup segment. So as part of this segment, we are talking about science of mind management, how to build new good habits. So this is what we did yesterday. We introduced a framework on how to look at it. And yesterday we spoke about how to build a good new habit. Today, we are going to talk about how to break an old bad habit. Pretty much using the same framework, we are going to talk about that. So we said that this is the a simple chart that will come in handy where you look at the happiness of breaking a bad habit and pain of continuing with it, because we are going to talk about breaking a bad habit that we have. Then we also look at advantages of breaking that bad habit and disadvantages of continuing with it, and benefits, harmful effects. So let's look at an example to understand how we can employ this framework to utilize this to break an old bad habit. And the example will take not eating junk food. Junk food is something we like, that quick snack, which does more harm than good though. So if this is a resolve we want to take, or this is a habit we are struggling with, then this is how we can employ this framework. The happiness and the pain part of it. Now, weight control, the happiness that you would get if you do that. So let me add all the ones. The reduced risk of diabetes if you stop having junk food, longer and healthier life, more nutritious food, you will make those choices, more appealing personality, and aging at appropriate time. Junk food adds to aging, accelerates aging as well, and low self-esteem as well because of that. And then greater stamina for work, and of course, financial savings, right? You buy more calories than nutrition when we go for junk food. So these are the pros or happiness that you would gain if you break this habit. And what is the pain that you can foresee? It leads to obesity in long run, lack of self-control and willpower, because when we fall for that sugar rush or immediate rush that we get from that food, then we are weakening our self-control. Poor self-image, shorter and unhealthier life, early onset of old age, increased risk of diabetes. So this is a framework we can employ to see this is the pain and this is the happiness we'll get if we try to stay away from this particular habit. And it can be employed to any habit that you're trying to break or inculcate. But hopefully this framework gives you something to start off with, especially if you're serious about either acquiring a new habit or building a new habit or breaking a chronic habit that you've been struggling with. Once you're intellectually convinced about pros and cons, the happiness and pain that is associated with that habit, then it becomes easier. And then there's a rule, I think 21 days we say, but it goes much more than that. I think the actual one is probably maybe around, goes up to 60 days or something like that. When you do, it truly becomes part of your routine. And there is something called habit suicide as well. If you don't do it for 3 to 5 days, then that habit is gone. That is how easy it is to break it. So good things take time to build, but when it comes to bad things, that can happen in a moment, right? It is says that years of satsang can be eroded in a few moments of kusang. Similarly, tons of effort that goes in building a new habit can be wasted within a few days. So this is how it is so easy to pick up bad habits and break a new good one. So with that said, hopefully this framework is of help to you. You can take a screenshot or post it and then employ it for whatever you're trying to do. All right, now let's move on to our Bhagavad Gita shloka for the day. We'll pick up 3 hands and then we'll get started. Na prishet priyam prapya no dvijet prapya cha priyam sthir buddhir asammudho brahmavid brahmani sthitah. Right, let's have 3 hands.
Radhe
Yes,
Radhe Riya ji.
Riya ji.
राधे राधे।
Radhe Radhe.
न प्रहृष्येत् प्रियं प्राप्य नोद्विजेत् प्राप्य चाप्रियम् स्थिरबुद्धिरसम्मूढो ब्रह्मविद् ब्रह्मणि स्थितः।
Very nice.
राधे राधे।
Riya ji, Radhe Radhe. Yes, Vinamra 7G, Rupa ji.
Radhe Radhe everyone.
Radhe Radhe.
Na prahrishte priyam prapya no dvijet prapya cha priyam sthira buddhir asamudho brahmavid brahmani stitaha.
Very nice. Thank you, Rupa ji. So today we don't have the 3rd hand, so let's get started. In this shloka, Lord Krishna is saying that established in God, having a firm understanding of divine knowledge and not hampered by delusion, they neither rejoice in getting something pleasant nor grieve on experiencing the unpleasant. So let's get started. And today we are going to talk about the different kind of devotees on this path, where maybe hampered by delusion, or we might be on the cusp of this state that Lord Krishna is talking about. So let's get it going. We'll do a quick recap of what we spoke about yesterday. But before that, came across this picture, which I found pretty interesting. So one devotee friend is worth more than a bunch of non-devotee friends, you see. Pretty self-explanatory. And then this one I liked as well. When you run alone, it's called race. And when Krishna runs with you, it's called grace. And grace is what is the key thing in the path of bhakti. Yes, Rahul, you wanted to say something?
Radhe Radhe, there is a request to see that soul soup segment, that slide once. Maybe we can see that right at the end.
All right, no worries. That's fine. So this is the one we spoke about, how to break bad habit, like not eating junk food. You have to convince yourself intellectually that the gains you are going to get so much to look forward to: weight control, risk of diabetes is reduced, longer, healthier life, more nutritious food, more appealing personality, stamina, better stamina, financial savings. And on the other hand, you have to deal with low self-esteem, obesity, lack of self-control, shorter and healthier life, onset of old age, and increased risk of diabetes. So when you put that in a very tabular format and then look at it every day, you will know that I have so much to gain, so much of upside and so much of downside. So this is a framework we can utilize to break any bad habit, any chronic bad habit that we might be struggling with, or to pick on any new good habit that we are trying to incorporate in our routines. Okay, hopefully that helps. Now we've spoken about the shloka. All right, we have spoken about difference between a race and a grace. And now let's move on to our discussion. So quick recap. Now, Brahmavid means a person with firm understanding of divine knowledge. And we spoke about this concept yesterday. It entails that person understands their constitutional position, being a fragmental part of God, God's energy. Not the enjoyer, but a sir. Somebody who needs to serve in order to get. Then they also understand that this gross impermanent body is impermanent and we have to vacate it one day. And our true identity is soul. We are divine and not this gross body, which is anyway changing every few years. In fact, science also says that every 7 years, all the molecules, atoms of our body get changed. But I remains the same. So it goes in conjunction with the third one, does not disregard existence of soul. This is a very important concept and the premise of entire Bhagavad Gita, that we are this divine soul and we are not going anywhere. We keep on getting reincarnated. Our gross bodies may keep on changing, but the baggage of karmas accompanies us because we are soul, which is immutable. Nayanam chindanti shastrani, nayanam dhati pavaka, right? Your weapon can't destroy it. So we are indestructible, like God Himself. And we keep on transmigrating from one body to another. Knows three aspects of God, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. They don't get confused. Now we have spoken about this concept. We have the benefit of this beautiful knowledge presented to us by Maharaji, where he explains all three aspects of God. People get confused. Some say God is only Jyoti Punj. Some say he's impersonal. You cannot objectify him. And somebody says he's seated within you. So he has reconciled this whole thing. He said all three aspects are there. He's locally present, he's omnipresent, and at the same time, he can take on a form as a Bhagwan form as well. So these are the three aspects of God. And then, like I said, our constitutional position is that of a part of God. So servitude, Jiver Swarup Hoy, Nityer Krishna Ardas, right? That Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said. So our dharma or our position is that to serve God, because we have started to think of ourselves as the enjoyers. That disrupts the hierarchy, and because of which we are repeating in this world. We are doing more of binding karma as opposed to liberating karma. And knows that soul can never become equal to God. So soul retains its identity even after God realization. It's like oil and water cannot mix. Similarly, soul can become God-like, but soul cannot become God. God is still God. And this knowledge is the ultimate understanding, is our self-interest lies in giving pleasure to God. And in the course of giving pleasure to God, we automatically get what we need. We get the joy, peace, bliss, pleasure ourselves as well. So it's in giving we shall receive, not in holding it back for us. This is the key concept. Now let's talk about how can we know that someone is situated in transcendence. Okay. So how would you know that? Is it something, somebody's rich? We can figure that person is rich, right? If somebody is a millionaire and they claim to be a millionaire, their lifestyle would reflect that. They will go out for big vacations, they'll have a nice fancy car that they will drive, they have a mansion that they own and all that stuff. So those external symptoms will manifest if somebody is a millionaire. Now, if somebody is situated, if somebody is a Brahmavid, transcendence, I don't know, I am not able to pronounce it today. So if somebody is truly in that, how would you know that? Somebody claims, somebody says, I am situated in that. So would you believe that? Or is it a good yardstick for do that? The outwardly, if you are able to control, these afflictions, material afflictions, like greed, anger, negativity, reaction, mood swings, and all that stuff, equanimity, if you are in that state, that is a kind of a yardstick one can employ. But if you are afflicted with any one of it, then you are not there at yet. So outwardly, there could be some symptoms, one can fake it, but then people, saintly personalities are truly situated in that. They are not subject to the mood swings like we have. Throughout the day, our mood keeps on changing. They carry their mood all the times. And then, of course, they are beyond the greed, anger kind of a complex that we all suffer with. Now, let's move on to 3 levels of devotees. That is what we wanted to talk about today. So this is the material conception of life, right? Where dualities are there, gain, loss, happiness, misery, favorable, unfavorable, all this stuff. These are the dualities that we spoke about. Now, the left one spiritualist who's a beginner, what is the symptom of them? They struggle with dualities. So much so that it may cost them giving up their spiritual life if they face too many hardships. You see people going to temple, asking God, give me this, and asking for things. And if things go bad or unfavorable in their life, then what happens? They say there is no God. I used to worship God. I was so serious about it. I always used to do fasting and believed in God, never harmed anything. And I used to ask, only thing I asked God was this much. And then look at what God did to me. So hardships can actually break their spiritual journey. These are the big beginners. In fact, Maharaj even said, in one of his lectures, I was hearing that when you go to God with some kind of a wish list, that God give me this, give me that, some kind of a thing, then that is eventually will lead you to becoming an atheist, a non-believer. Why? Because God will give you not what you desire, but what you deserve and what is beneficial for you, not what is pleasurable for you. And then if you go with this mindset that if I'm going to approach God and get something favorable for me, and that doesn't happen, then that can push you away from God. A lot of people, they turn away from God. Something bad happens in their life, some reversal happens, some tragedy happens, they become negative. They say, I don't believe in God or all that stuff. Okay, I've seen enough of this. It can happen. So this is the first level of spiritualists who actually do their pujas and stuff like that, but then they can get derailed from spiritual life if too many hardships are presented to them, not because they lose faith in God, but they could get occupied in their mundane life as well. It's like I have to take care of stuff in my life, let things settle down, and then I will get back to this again. Things will never settle down, right? 20-30 years can pass, this drama of life can continue to tire you, but it will never go away. Like they say, right, in English, you don't wait for the rain to pass, you get out on the rain and dance. So then those people, they get occupied with life and make it a priority, and then hardships can actually derail their spiritual journey as well. So they are the beginners. Now, if they are beginners, then what? Then what do they do? So there's an instruction for them. Okay, I'll map it to the Bhagavad Gita shloka for the beginners. What is the instruction? 2.14. Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkhada agama payano nitya tanstitiksha bharata. So 2.14 very clearly tells, he says, Lord Krishna is saying, O son of Kunti, the contact between senses and sense objects give rise to fleeting perceptions of happiness and distress. So the key word here is fleeting. Fleeting means temporary, which shifts, which changes. Nothing is permanent, right? The good thing about bad thing is that, it is not permanent, and the bad thing about, we spoke about it yesterday. So this is all fleeting, or temporary or transient. And these are non-permanent, come and go like winter and summer seasons, is what Lord Krishna is telling, okay, for these people. So if a hardship comes, it doesn't mean now you give up your spiritual practice completely. That, okay, let me focus on this, and that my life has become too tough, my job has become too tough. Let me first let it settle down and stuff like that. So, that kind of a thing we need to is the clear message for people who are on this stage, basically. And the same thing, it is a temporary phenomena. Even when you get a lot of success or good things happening to in life as well, you don't get carried away and forget everything at all. You see some people, they get carried away when they are very excessively happy. I see people, in fact, I've seen this phenomena happening. People, when they come to US initially, I mean, I don't want to put it as a stereotype. Now the temple is the first thing they would like to visit, because that is one thing that brings them that sense of belonging. Because temple, they'll meet people and stuff like that, and they're missing home and stuff like that. They will come, and then they will speak and be, and then the moment they get busy in their life, then they forget all that aspect as well. So it's easy to get carried away when our life is smooth or things start going well for us, and it is again one of those things. When hardships come, it can derail their spiritual journey. So Lord Krishna is saying, just treat it like winter and summer. Don't take it too seriously, because it will pass. Both are temporary. Simply tolerate them without getting disturbed, is the message. Tolerate them without getting disturbed. Okay, so for the beginners, this is the message, and this is shloka. So 2.14 gives us the clear injunctions to people who might be struggling with that excessively. We all are with dualities, but if we feel this is something that really impacts us whenever things start becoming hard, or I feel it very difficult to carve out time for the spiritual practices that I was previously doing, then there's a clear message. Now let's move on. Now, these dualities, level 2 spirituality, the spiritualist is proficient. What does it mean? The spiritual, they are elevated enough in their faith to be able to tolerate dualities. So they are better when it comes to these kind of dealing with dualities. But that tolerance is yet a painful exercise because they've not yet experienced a higher taste in spiritual life. Okay. So they do back of the mind that knowledge is there, but then because you're not getting the higher taste, now Krishna is not going to give some bingo, here I come and take your bliss. It's going to be a bit of a journey. So then that struggle continues. It's a bit of a painful process. So what is the injunction for them? Lord Krishna is talking in 2.59. He's saying, Vishya vinivartante niraharasya dehina. Basically, he's saying that rasa varjanam rasso pyasa param drishtva nivartate. So he's saying that aspirants may restrain the senses from their objects of enjoyment, but the taste for these sense object remains. However, even this taste ceases for those who realizes the supreme. So the point here is you need to continue to invest and keep on increasing the dose as opposed to getting discouraged. Because once that taste will start flowing in, you will automatically lose taste, lower taste that your senses are craving for. Sense object, that seed is still there. So in order to burn the seed, you continue on your practice. Be patient. Don't get discouraged. And in due course of time, that will also happen. Okay, Lord Krishna is very clearly saying. Now you may be restraining yourself, which is fine, but the sense objects are still craving for their objects. Okay, it may be diminishing, but it's still not gone. So what do? In order for you that taste to cease, you need to continue to invest, and then finally you will give up those toys as well. You will grow out of it. So got to be patient about it. It's not going to happen just like that. 0 1 units. It's not a unit step function. It's a journey. So this is the injunction for people who are much better in dealing with it, but yet find it painful to deal with it when the opportunity presents. And they need to continue to strive for the higher taste. Be patient, be disciplined, stay focused, have faith, continue on this path. Then comes the third level of devotees, highly advanced. Now we are talking about the gold medalists here, okay, like Prahlad Maharaj or Pandavas. They are totally lost in Krishna or God. For them, worldly pleasure, pain, dishonor, etc. is like a dream or unreal. Doesn't matter, doesn't bother. They don't give any value to it at all. Okay, they are beyond all of it. They are very highly advanced. Okay, that is the aspirational state for all of us, by the way. What is the injunction for them? So, Gita verse 12.13 and 12.14, which is further down, but it says basically, Adveshta Sarva Bhutanam. Anyways, I'm going to go to the translation directly. It says that those devotees are very dear to me who are free from malice towards all living beings. Just mark each one of these words carefully. Who are friendly and compassionate. They are free from attachment to possessions and egotism, equipoised in happiness and distress, and ever forgiving. They are ever content, steadily united with me in devotion, self-controlled, of firm resolve, and dedicated to me in mind and intellect. My devotees are too much blissful to consider material world of any importance. So they, for them, the material world does not matter at all. It's a kind of a temporary drama that they have taken upon themselves as part of God's Leela, but it doesn't bother them at all. So these dualities do not carry any value for them. Honor, dishonor, and stuff like that. Now you may say Pandavas, they became angry when they got, you know, dishonor. They had to experience dishonor of their wife. Yeah, they were doing Leela at that point, but these people are actually truly beyond these dualities. Prahlad, for that matter. So that is the aspirational state when you are Brahmavid, you are in Brahmavid state where you are actually situated in perfect knowledge, which is God realization. So most of the people will be in level 1 or level 2, but those are the reminders that we need to, how do we need to deal with dualities, or for that matter, take dualities in life, which is anyway going to happen, right? Everything changes. The seasons change, day-night changes. Similarly, our emotions change. What we feel today, what we experience today, tomorrow, it could be just the opposite. So just take it as one of those things. Learn to tolerate it and sail over it, as opposed to giving it too much of importance and making it a focal point of your life. So that is the key message from this shloka. Yes, Rahul?
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. Request to show the level 1 slide.
Okay, request not overruled. Okay, this is the level 1. Matra sparshastu kante. In this one, struggle with dualities, and there's always a danger lurking out there that people can get off track from their spiritual practice, either because they get excessive material things. They say money, power, and fame, if you don't have it, it's a good thing. Power, they say power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And similarly, when money or fame comes, it is so intoxicating that it can, sway you and could derail your spiritual journey. So if we have to work towards earning things and we have means to sustain ourselves and not excessive, it's actually a blessing from God. If you look at some of the people who get everything on a platter, they don't develop depth, and in fact, it can intoxicate them with all the material and opulences that are at their disposal. So many people, they can't value things. So having a okay life is a blessing actually in that sense, because anybody can get intoxicated with these three things, money, power, or fame. So happiness as well as hardship both can derail you in this case, because hardships, then your priorities might shift. Hey, I have to take care of it right now. I'm going through, I have to teach my kid, and we are taking care of his college stuff, or we need to get him married, or I have, this house project. Once I need to finish that, and then so they keep on delaying it, right? They become old age tushti. They do that. Okay, this is something we can do it at the end of, later part of our life. Um, so these dualities have to be dealt with. Not making spirituality, letting spirituality take a backseat is essentially the message from God, because these are very temporary phenomena, and this will be part and parcel of your life regardless. Yes, Rahul.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. There is a question from Prachi ji. In
Mm-hmm.
Kali Yuga, how can one transition from level 2 to level 3 while performing worldly duties?
Param Yog. So 2.47, it's you practice 24/7. So in Kali Yuga, we have our jobs, then we have our family, parents, or kids to take care of, and then we have to take care of our finances, and we have to take care of our health, right? All these balls everybody's juggling to varying degrees depending upon what stage of life they are in. So the key message is, make all of your work, move it from being secular to being devotional, because when you do it with a consciousness, God consciousness, in the sense that I'm doing it for the pleasure of God, then it becomes you're transcending from level 2 or level 1 or level 2 to level 3. At that point, it's a journey there as well. Now one may say that, okay, how can I build God consciousness in whatever I'm doing? You can actually, this concept says that you deepen your devotion to God, you build, you know f- deepen your love for God. So if your attachment is to God, then no matter what you are doing is actually becomes devotional at that point. It's like a mother is teaching kids in school, but she never, not for a moment, she forgets, that she's a mother, but her heart is with her own kids. Similarly, when your heart is with God, and that is a practice, of course, not going to happen overnight. That is why we meditate, we do seva, we do sadhana, so that we can deepen that love and devotion for God and Guru. When that continues to happen and it starts occupying more and more of your mind, then you are automatically moving from level 1 or level 2 to level 3. It's a journey. Prachi, did I answer your question? Thank you. So Karma Yoga is the key message by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. If you have to pick up one nugget. So we only focus on fundamentals. See, there is so much of knowledge, so many things, you will come across so many concepts. Now, how much knowledge do we need to progress? Do we need to know tons of literature? We should have read all the Vedas. We should know pretty much every mantra which is out there. No. In order to kill somebody, we need a sword. Just give me a sec. I need to remove somebody without admitting. And I think I did a good job in doing that already. Okay. So, so what I'm saying is, if we have to kill somebody, we need a sword for that. But if we have to kill ourselves, we need a needle. Similarly, if you have to impart knowledge, then you have to learn a lot of stuff so that you can explain it from different angles and this and that. But if you have to progress yourself spiritually, you know only little bit of knowledge. And if there is only one little bit of knowledge that anybody needs to really, contemplate upon or make a part of their life, that is just learn to love God. That's all. If you can do that, whether it takes a kirtan to do it, whether it takes chanting, meditation, satsangs, whatever it takes, if we can love God or deepen our faith in God, automatically surrender will follow, and we are pretty much covering the whole 9 yards of devotion. Nothing else is needed. Even the knowledge will be provided to you. Everything will come knocking at your door all by itself if there's one nugget we have to pick up. So in Kali Yuga, again, we can do that in conjunction with our day-to-day stuff. It doesn't mean you have to take a sannyas or turn your back towards your responsibilities or duties. You can continue to practice devotion in your household life, when you're cooking, when you're cleaning, when you're washing, when you're serving, when you're working. In anything, you can build that consciousness. It's not that you have to be in some kind of a sadhana or go to some esoteric place, isolated place rather, to practice devotion. So that's the message. It's a very practical message in that sense, from Bhagavad Gita. Does that answer your question? Yes, Rahul?
I think Prachiji has mentioned, thank you. And there are multiple requests for the different slides. Can we go to slide number 2? Sangeeta ji just wanted to see that.
Sure. The slide number 2 is the proficient ones. People who are work in progress at varying degrees. We understand the knowledge, but then we struggle when the practical situations come. It's painful to, tolerate some of the stuff, because we are not getting the taste as yet. Krishna is not coming in front of us. God is not saying, hey, touch me and you get the bliss. So we have to struggle through that point. So this message is for them, that you continue to invest in that. Don't leave the fundamentals. And if you are to ask what are the fundamentals to continue to progress on this path, there are 3 S's we have spoken about: seva, satsang, and sadhana. Right? If you do satsang is very important, because when we are sitting in this, like this is a collective energy that we experience, right? Like even while during this session, or if you have a local chapter of your satsang that you attend on a periodic basis, that is a sure shot way to keep on progressing spiritually. Because when you do satsang and you have it as part of your non-negotiable routine, this is something that keeps you on track. And Swamiji continues to reiterate the importance of satsang. He said in 40 years of his prachar, he has seen that people who attend satsang regularly, they continue to march forward. And people who don't do that, they think, oh, what difference will it make? They go here, there, few steps forward, few steps backward, and that journey does not pick up momentum. So satsang is one. Then sadhana, of course, our ekant sadhana is important. We need to meditate, have that personal time with God, one-on-one with God, whatever that time is, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Ideally, we should spend 1/10 of our time for, God-related topics. 1/10, a dasham rule is there in our scriptures. So that means in 24 hours, 2.4 hours should be devoted to something related to God, as per scriptural injunction. However, in Kali Yuga, with traffics and queues and other things we have to deal with, even if we do 1 hour of meditation or 30 minutes, that's good enough. And then the third important thing is seva, because seva is something you cannot meditate or sit in sadhana for entire day. And seva, if you have it part of your routine, it is something more than you are doing, not just limited for your own sake only. That is a good routine to get into. It could be a small seva, pick it up as part of your routine. It could be daily seva, it could be weekly seva, but building that seva is another way to get closer to that our constitutional position of being a sevak of God. So why not start building those sanskars now only? So the seva is, so these three S's are very important: satsang, seva, and sadhana. And in addition to that, staying away from kusang is equally important. You may do all the satsang, but a few moments of kusang can erode all of that. Right? And kusang can come in so many ways. It could be a quick phone call from somebody. It could be somebody just having a friendly talk. In so many ways it can come. So staying away from identifying and staying away from kusang is equally important, because it can erode all the accumulations you might have done within no time whatsoever. That is how powerful kusang is. Yes, Rahul?
Yeah, rather. Since you talked about sadhana, there is a daily sadhana portal also. I can share it in the chat, which is based on the teachings of Swamiji, and it has different modules. So I think that can also help in everyone to get started.
Right. So Swamiji has a very structured course that he has created, where you can definitely take benefit from it. I think it follows a Kripalu Paddhati. You have Kirtan, and then you have meditation, and then lecture, and then quiz. So, and then you can systematically build this Vedic knowledge if you subscribe to that. So do check it out as well. mydailysadhana.org is where you can subscribe to that and take benefit from it. Any other questions related to what we spoke about, the three levels of spiritualists, the messages for them? And okay, I need to remove somebody without admitting again. I did that. Okay. Yes. Any other questions? I know I covered it pretty quickly, but I wanted to conclude this shloka. So you have to give me company for another few minutes so you can ask me questions. Anything related to this topic? By the way, within devotees also, there are three kinds of devotees. Yes, Sandhya, you have raised your hand. So I was about to start rambling again. Go ahead.
There's a question in the chat actually by Kumarji.
Mhm.
Like there are some participants who seem to be troubling you. So
Mhm.
how do you manage it and how do you remain calm?
How do I manage it? I don't know. See, technology is making it easier and difficult both. Um, easier in the sense that you can block, you can block out the noise. You have the choice to block somebody on WhatsApp. Then you have the choice to block them on email. Then you have to choice to block them on phone and Google calls once you understand. So all those options are there, right? So, but technology makes it difficult also, because when technology is there, then there's only so much you can do, right? They'll find a way. And if somebody is super motivated in life, there's only so much you can do, right? If you look at some suicide bombers, when somebody is willing to give up their, whatever it takes, and they have made a mission in their life to get out of, they'll find out ways. So then it becomes difficult. Like when we open chat, you see so many things come on my name now. I'm getting used to it. But the good thing about this is I get a personal messages now. They're becoming public. So it may confuse some new aspirant what's going on here, but I've kind of made a peace with it, in the sense that if somebody's struggling, so you don't fault with people when you go to hospital, right? That why are you not well? If not, somebody's not well, they're not well. You only hope that, some sanity gets, because it's end of the day, they are the ones who are suffering. So you try to block it out without, letting it play in your mind. And only if you accept things that are hurled at you, then you are giving it importance, right? So if you don't accept it, how does it matter? And then you only figure out ways how best not, to, and you hope basically that sanity would prevail one of these days, and that's the best you can do. But in technological world, it's very difficult to, stay away from somebody who's motivated and determined enough to find ways to reach out to you. If I don't do anything, then the feedback tracker gets filled up, right? If feedback tracker is not filled up, then I get copied in some, or I get messages. So that can happen, but then you learn to take it in your stride as well.
And And there is another follow-up comment from Maheshi. लोगों को काम धंधा नहीं है क्या?
No, see, this is the interesting thing. Our mind is, God has given us such a very sharp tool that if we put it in right direction, we can do impossible things, that unimaginable things. Look at how Swamiji, the ability of his mind, right? He's writing books and traveling around and giving discourses, pulling out references, reaching out to people. So many things it can accomplish. And when you put it on the wrong side, it can do harm. And that harm can be tremendous. It has a potential to create that as well. So that's why this is a tool that we need to really take care of. It's a double-edged sword that God has given us. If we don't choose to exercise our free will correctly, nothing can happen. And it can be tricky. And I've seen somebody, struggling for not just for a short time, like somebody struggling for 6, 7, 8 months, and there's no hope after that. It's like somebody is determined enough to carry bitterness, resentment, and stuff like that in their head. Even God cannot help them. End of the day, it's our journey only, right? So yeah, it's a test for yourself as well, right? How you can treat it and not let it get into your head. So it's like one of those things you don't even give importance to it. Kumarji, I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, you answered both Kumarji and Maheshi.
Okay.
And I think few others who
Uh,
might be attending.
No worries. So if you see any messages, when we open up the chat, so then the other part of it is we have choice, right? Should we just close it out for everybody? Of course, we can't do that. So we still open it up when we do our quizzes. That quiz masters do such a fantastic job, and we want people to come forward and participate. So we'll open it up. It definitely, we have to take it on the chin if somebody starts, putting messages which go against the decorum of the program, or otherwise we simply accept it. Or what can we do about it, right? Somebody can change names and do whatever it is. So, but I hope everybody who joins this session by now, that it happens, and you can simply ignore it without making it a big deal about it. And people reach out to me, what's going on? Why did I explain? Whoever reaches out to me, but you can safely ignore it. Anyways, I wanted to talk about three kinds of devotees also. Like we spoke about the three levels of spiritualists, right? Now, let me talk a little bit about three levels of devotees also. The first level of devotees is who the goal for them is world and God is the means. Okay, so that is typically how somebody's spiritual journey starts. It's like they go to God, but their goal is world. Okay, God, I need this, I need that, right? That's the first level. So Lakshya and Lakshata and Vachita. So in Sanskrit it says Lakshata means goal, Vachita means means. So goal is world, God is care of God. The second one is the goal is God, the means is world. Okay, now it's a progression because now you want to reach God, but the means is world. So they will utilize all their worldly things for the service of God, which is a great way of looking at it, right? Karam Yoga also talks about that. You utilize whatever you have in the world for the service of God. But then in Gyan Yoga, then they think that their means are sufficient to reach God. So they rely on their self-effort to reach God. Right? People perform austerities and anushtans and yagyas and all that stuff. So that is the second level where goal is God, means is world. The third level and the highest one are the ones where goal is God and means is also God. They understand that you cannot attain God without the grace of God. So their goal is God and they rely on God's grace to reach there as well. So that is also a progression with regards to how you're approaching your devotion. I just wanted to call that out. Okay, any questions?
So there is a question from Pratyusha ji. And also, if time permits, we have a very exciting video which talks about why is Hanumanji called as Hanumanji.
Sure.
So we will show that after,
Let's
I
take
think.
one, Pratyusha, and then we can play that video.
Yeah.
We'll stop share. Yep.
So, okay, she says hypothetical question. If you are a devotee and someone else thinks of you at the time of death, and you thought of God before leaving and left before them, can they follow you if you are God realized? Is there any example of such an incident in our scriptures? Where do they go? And then follow up like thinking of Guru.
So this is a very interesting question. So let's understand it, right? Bhagavad Gita shloka says, right, Ant Kalevaram, basically, whatever you think of at your last moment, that is what you end up achieving. Now, you thought of somebody who thought of God, right? So this is kind of an indirect relationship that is getting established. But if you thought of somebody who thought of God, that means that person was already at a level. Right? No, it's not an ordinary person. It cannot be a matter of chance. Hey, that person thought of God. So that person would have already been at a particular. And we said that you cannot think of God unless you have transcended your body. You can think clearly of only if you have transcended your body, because death is a two-step process. First, you fall unconscious, and then Yamaraj does his job of pulling you out of the body that you thought was your identity. So if somebody is able to think of God, then it may not be bad to think about that person. But the point is, you will never know, right, where that person is. For all you know, that person may end up thinking something else. So it's a bit tricky there. But yeah, I mean, technically or hypothetically, the question that you asked, you will also end up achieving God only because you thought of somebody who was God realized. So essentially, you thought of somebody who was a realized soul or a saint. So yes, you will attain God by that
So I
logic.
think, yeah,
Krishna's formula.
and her follow-up was if it's Guru. I think if it's Guru, then there is no confusion, right? It's
Yeah,
because, yeah.
and it's an established guru who is both Shrotri and Brahmanist at least. Yeah.
Okay. There's another question specifically targeted to you, Nitinji, from
Okay.
Swapan Kumar
Being
Patraji.
targeted today. Go ahead, please.
I'm really amazed to listen your very in-depth discussion. How have you achieved this excellence? Definitely, Guru and God's grace is required, but what is the secret behind it? You may share if you're comfortable to reveal it, because it may help progress in his journey as well.
I said right in the previous sessions as well, karte ho tum kanhaiya, mera naam ho raha hai. That bhajan is there, right? But forget about that. See, this is how I see this, to be honest. I'm also struggling, right? I'm also WIP, I would say, work in progress. And I also have my secret stash that I need to, address as part of this journey. Now, definitely, I'm fortunate and privileged to get this seva. And when you're doing this seva for your guru to the best of your abilities, then of course they do things for you as well, right? So they make sure that their message does not get diluted. They'll plant the right thoughts. They'll give you the right inspiration, tools, and stuff like that. So I've seen that happening and unfolding with myself, specifically during this 1 hour. Okay, 9 to 10. I want to call it out very clearly, 9 to 10. Okay, it doesn't mean that I carry this around. And that happens. I'll tell you some instances where I have changed the presentations. I have not thought about something and I'm quoting that. And then somebody's putting in feedback tracker. This is exactly what I needed today. And then it makes me connect the dots and say, who planted that thought in my head? Why did I say that even though I didn't? So I've seen those kind of things happening. It is only because you're doing that seva. Okay. That doesn't mean you have reached a certain point. Of course not, right? I'm also struggling and I have my own things that I need to address as well. And then talking is not a big deal, right? When you are doing something for such a long time, then you start getting habituated to, and you're listening to stuff and things come in. And then, of course, you get God and Guru's grace. But even a parrot can talk, right? So I'm saying I'm that parrot who can talk. But if you choke the throat of a parrot, only tar will come out, okay? Then no knowledge will come out. So it's a journey. If you want to experience part of it between 9 and 10, then take on a seva, and then we can ask you the same question, how is it happening? And then you'll be able to relate to what I exactly said. Okay, it's something special that happens. Just because you're doing the seva, that doesn't mean that I've reached somewhere. Okay, I'm probably struggling much more than some of the people that I look up to in our session as well. So that's the reality.
And Mahesh ji is adding, it takes a lot of dedication and commitment to do this with so much love and devotion, like what Nitinji does.
No, thank you for saying that. It's all God and Guru's grace, I would say, because it's very easy to lose motivation. And if somebody would have told me that when we started off with these sessions that you'll be going strong into fourth year, I would have said no way. And I would plan for a week and a week and a week. 1 week, 1 week, 1 week. Okay, now we are past 1 week, and it's just unfolding. And in fact, my productivity takes a dip when I don't have a session in my office. I'm much more focused and productive when I have a session. because I know I have to do that, and I have 2 laptops, which can be managed, or when I come back, I somehow manage it. So it just becomes part of your routine. And now I can't even imagine a day without a session. When I have a bit of a break, of course, I need it to prepare, but then I miss it. To be honest, I miss it that something is missing in the routine. And then I have seen, so you guys are so wonderful. So many people came along, last couple of years who volunteered to come and help me in so many ways. So it is all through God and Guru's grace. It gets, so that is where, Swamiji's words always keep ringing in my head. He said that if you have to test God and Guru, that they actually are there with you and they are truly helping you. You pick on a seva that you think is much beyond your ability, and then try to do your best. And then when it will get accomplished, you will realize it's not you who's doing it. And I get to experience that. I know, I mean, it's not something that I'm capable of doing or I would have thought I could do, but it's somehow getting done. So it's so God and Guru's grace in action. And then so many wonderful devotees and people and participants have come forward in the last couple of years to help me out. And it has been a wonderful association. I'm the biggest gainer out of this, I would say. And for you, if you're giving like 60 minutes every day when you come here, it means a lot, right? I think that, okay, when you walk out of this session, you take at least one good thing away, um, because we are giving that, and giving time is like giving life. It's not a small thing, right? So it's a matter of responsibility as well, that Guru has given you that seva. So you better not go through the motions. You put in your work, your effort, something that people can walk away with, something that they can take back to their life or say, yeah, I learned something good. So that motivation, inspiration, they keep it going. It's not easy to turn up every day and then feel excited about it. But now I know why, how Swamiji feels excited, right? Guru plants that inspiration in you and then you look forward to it.
Wonderful. Thank you. And like you mentioned, there are many participants who are quite great, wonderful. So one such participant has made this video that I will show now.
Sure, let's see the video. Today we had a different session. I think good discussions of topic as well. So yeah, let's play the video.
Okay, you can confirm if the sound is fine.
The audio is a little muffled.
Yeah.
जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीन सती लोक उजागर राम दूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन वरण विराज सुभूषा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे कांधे मूंज जनेऊ साजे अंकर सवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर
Yeah. Okay, it was a beautiful Hanuman Chalisa, right? That for kids. Yeah, we could hear it. It was a little muffled. But
Oh,
yeah.
is it? Maybe I think some audio settings that I need to correct. But I hope we got to learn the reason why is he called Hanuman. And
You're
can you
giving
guess
us
who made it?
who made it?
Do you see some?
Somebody I can see smiling in our session.
Yes.
Laddu made it. Good job, Laddu.
Laddu is back in action.
Thank you, yeah.
Laddu's
Thank
second
you.
name is Seema, by the way. So good job, Seema.
Thank
You're
you.
good, putting your
With
time
this,
to good use.
thank you.
I'm getting a personal message right now saying, what about us? Me and Nivan. So of course, I get a lot of support at home, and without, Arnima's and Nivan's help, I don't think I would be able to do that. They sacrifice a lot of time. They know I have to rush 9 o'clock. And so they're pretty supportive about it. I don't think without their help, I would have been able to do this either. So of course, that goes without saying. Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, thank you for playing that video. That was pretty awesome.
And this reel is available on our RKT Insta page. So for those of you who are there on Instagram, to try to check it out and follow RKT also.
Thank you.
A- And when we talk about Hanumanji, you know, Kumarji will always have a comment, right?
Yes,
So,
Kumarji, I hope we made your day. And by the way, it's Tuesday, so it was a right day to play Hanuman Chalisa.
yes, so Kumarji is saying nothing more devotional than Hanuman Chalisa. So, thank you and well done, Laddu.
Well done, Laddu. Good job.
All right. Do we go to the devotional segment?
Let's move to the devotional segment and then we'll wrap it up. Please fill out the feedback tracker if you have not posted it. I think we have already posted it. Rahul, if you can, post the feedback tracker, do fill it up. And tomorrow I think we will introduce the new shloka tomorrow because we're pretty much done with this one or something interesting topic in addition to the spiritual cash-up segment that we have. Okay, let's do our chantings. We can pick up 3 or 4 hands and then we'll wrap it up.
Okay, can I go ahead first? Okay. मन माया ते ही बन्यो माया ते संसार राधे राधे या ते मन भावत सदा यह संसार असार राधे राधे जय राधे कृष्ण राधे 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 कृष्ण राधे. The mind is a product of Maya and the material world is also created from Maya. Therefore, the mind is naturally drawn to the material world.
Wonderful. Very nice. Let's take a couple of more hands. Rahul?
Radhe Radhe Swati ji.
Yes, Swati ji.
Yeah,
and
Radhe Radhe. मन माया ते ही बन्यो माया ते संसार राधे राधे या ते मन भावत सदा यह संसार असार राधे राधे. Thank you, Radhe Radhe.
Thank you, Swati ji. Very nice. Rahul, you wanted to do as well? Go ahead.
Yeah. मन माया ते ही बन्यो माया ते संसार राधे राधे या ते मन भावत सदा यह संसार असार राधे राधे जय राधे कृष्ण राधे 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 कृष्ण राधे.
Very nice, Rahul. Thank you. Dinesh ji, you can take remaining 3 hands and then we have time. Go ahead, Dinesh ji.
मन माया ते ही बन्यो माया ते संसार राधे राधे या ते मन भावत सदा यह संसार असार राधे राधे जय राधे कृष्ण राधे 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 कृष्ण राधे राधे राधे.
Dinesh ji, Radhe Radhe. Thank you. Lakshmi ji.
Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe everyone. मन माया ते ही बनियो माया ते संसार राधे राधे या ते मन भावत सदा यह संसार असार राधे राधे जय राधे कृष्ण राधे राधे जय राधे कृष्ण राधे.
Thank
you.
Yes, Lakshmi ji. Riya ji, last but not the least. Go ahead,
राधे
please.
राधे.
Radhe.
मन माया ते ही बन्यो माया ते संसार राधे राधे या ते मन भावत सदा यह संसार असार राधे राधे जय राधे कृष्ण राधे 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 कृष्ण राधे
Very nice, Riya
राधे
ji.
राधे.
Radhe Radhe, thank you. So with that, so it's a beautiful verse. It says, mind is a product of Maya and material world is also created from Maya. It's cut from the same cloth. And that is why our mind naturally goes to the material world. We don't have to put in effort. And when we do sadhan bhakti, where we forcefully take our mind away from world and put it to God, it will take effort. And then it will start getting naturally drawn towards God when you start entering bhav bhakti. And then you have to do the reverse. It goes to God naturally and you have to pull it back to bring it back to the world. Okay, so that is where sadhan bhakti has graduated to bhav bhakti. But yes, very beautifully explained. So with that, we come to the end of today's session. And great discussion. Please fill out the feedback tracker. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. We have a spiritual cash-up segment. Plus, we'll pick up a topic probably next look, or we'll figure it out. We'll get that notification anyway. So Radhe Radhe, good night, good day from my side. Stay blessed and have a wonderful rest of your evening. Thank
Radhe
you.
Radhe. Thank you, Rantanji.